Hello friends, Decent Eddie here. Hey, Thursday was great for me, and we're sitting at 75% of my confident picks so far in 2025. That's still off our 2024 numbers by about 6%, but it's still pretty decent. Hey, please do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment if you want to. I love interacting with you all. We have some danger here. We've got a lot of danger this week, so let's get into it. Dolphins versus Commanders in Madrid. Hey, quick note, Spain is actually a good spot. It's less expensive than you think, it's affordable, and you eat dinner very, very late, which is good for people like me. Anyway, back to the game. This is a danger pick for a reason, guys. With my very tiny 0.6 differential favoring the Commanders in my data. The market has the Dolphins as 2.5-point favorites with a 61% chance to win this straight up. The over-under is 47.5 points. This game is a pure qualitative play. The Commanders are a dumpster fire. They've lost 5 straight. They're giving up 38.5 points, over 450 yards per game in the last month. They're missing their key players. Structurally speaking, they're in pretty bad shape. The Dolphins, despite their 3-7 record, just pulled off a huge win against the Bills, and they seem to be getting healthier on the defensive side. The Commanders' defense can't stop, seems to be anyway, anybody from passing lately, which is probably music to Tua's ears. My data says to avoid the money line completely on this, and I agree. The Commanders' value is kind of non-existent at the moment. The spread is small. The structural advantage for the Dolphins is apparent. So I'm actually going to be taking the Dolphins at 2.5 against the spread on this one, which kind of breaks away from my normal rules, but this is kind of a special situation. For the total, I am leaning on the over 47.5, but it's a high-risk play that might only happen if both defenses collapse on both sides, and my over-unders had just been trashed this year. I recommend a no play in the money line, but I am taking Commanders for my data tracking. I would stay away from the money line completely. Moving on, Bears versus Vikings. This is a decent Eddie suboptimal pick on the money line. With a 4.9 differential favoring the Bears in my data. The Vikings are 3-point favorites right now. Last I looked anyway. They got a 63% market chance to win this game straight up. The over-under 47.5. Forget the week 1 results. This is a totally different game. The 6-3 Bears seem to be pushing ahead. Their defense leads the NFL in takeaways. That could be a problem for J.J. McCarthy, who threw 2 picks against the Ravens. Caleb Williams is leading the league in fourth quarter comebacks. That's a perfect matchup for him against the Vikings team that seems to cool off in the second half of games. This divisional game is going to be a coin flip, I think. Anytime the market and I don't agree, almost anytime, on a favorite, I will take the underdog against the spread. So I am taking the Bears at +3 here. I'm feeling the over 47.5, but again, my over-unders have been trash. For the money line, I recommend caution, but I am taking the Bears here on the money line. Search your hearts for what you want to do. I'm hitting 59% in that suboptimal range this season. Packers versus Giants. This is a decent Eddie confident pick for the Packers with a 16.2 differential where I'm hitting about 79%. The Packers are 7 to 7.5 point favorites depending on where you look. The market has given them about a 78% chance to win this game straight up. The over-under 43.5. The 2-8 Giants are in a free fall, losing 4 straight, allowing over 32 points per game in that slide. Their defense is giving up 152 yards per game on the ground, and that is probably like Christmas morning for Josh Jacobs, who already has 11 touchdowns. With Jackson Dart possibly sidelined, Russell Wilson will be under siege from Micah Parsons. Green Bay's offense is going to stretch this field wide open, I think. I'm taking the Packers at 7.5 against the spread here. I'm taking the under 43.5, and I'm taking Packers on the money line. Panthers versus Falcons is another danger pick, showing a 3.4 differential favoring the Panthers. The Falcons are 3.5-point favorites with a 64% market chance to win this one straight up. The over-under is 41.5 points. Falcons probably kind of desperate, having lost 4 straight, but they are playing at home in the Dome, and that should give them a little bit of a boost. The Panthers, their entire game plan is running, but the Falcons are allowing the 4th most rushing yards per game. This is a matchup where the Panthers could utilize Dowdle to control the clock and keep the score low. The Falcons' offense could attack a Panthers defense that is giving up a ton and seems vulnerable to tight ends in the middle. I think this game is a divisional toss-up, but I'm taking the Panthers at 3.5 as the against the spread pick because that hook point is kind of vital in what may be a close game. The total, the recent trend of both teams struggling to score says take the under 41.5. I'm recommending a no play on the money line, but I'm going to take the Panthers for my data tracking. Chargers versus Jaguars. This is a suboptimal pick on the money line for the Chargers with a 4.7 differential. The Chargers are 3-point favorites with a 61% market chance to win this game straight up. The over-under, 43.5 points. The Chargers are a statistical powerhouse at 7-3, scoring on a league-high 55% of drives recently and converting 13% more third downs than their opponents. Jaguars are kind of in a meltdown. They have the worst sack differential in the league, and their turnover rate has collapsed. Their passing offense is now ranked near or at the bottom in a lot of my passing metrics. The big risk here, and I know it's weird to say it, is the Chargers' insane travel schedule. Look it up. It's been nuts for them. But the Jags may be too damaged to take advantage. I'm taking the Chargers at -3 against the spread. For the total, the Jags' offense looks broken, and the Chargers have a top 10 defense that is phenomenal at keeping scoring plays from being touchdowns. So I'm taking the under 43.5. And while my pick is suboptimal on the money line for the Chargers, expressing caution, I think the qualitative information kind of pushes it. So I'm going to be taking the Chargers on the money line. All right, Bengals versus Steelers. This is a suboptimal money line pick for the Steelers on the money line in my data with a 4.4 differential favoring them. The Steelers are 5.5-point favorites with a 71% chance to win this game. The over-under is 49.5. The Bengals defense is bad, ranked at or near the bottom in all my defensive metrics, all the way across the board. They can't stop the ball from moving and are bad at keeping people from scoring with it. That should be a green light for Aaron Rodgers to bounce back after crapping the bed. I don't know any other way to say it last week. Should be a green light. However, Joe Flacco just torched the Bears for 470 yards at their last game. The Bengals put up 33 points, and a shocker. I think that horrible Bengals defense, though, makes the over 49.5 a decent bet. But remember, my over-unders have been trash. I'll take the Bengals at 5.5 against the spread. I urge caution, but I am taking the Steelers on the money line. All right, Bills versus Buccaneers. This is a danger money line pick with just a 0.8 differential favoring the Bills in my data. The Bills are 5.5-point favorites with a 73% market chance to win this game head-to-head. The market is more confident than I am. The over-under is 47.5 points. Both 6-3 teams are reeling from rough losses, but the Bills are back home in the cold where they do pretty well. Low 40s, 18-mile-an-hour winds are in the forecast here. The Bills' defense is allowing the most rushing yards in the NFL, which would be a huge spot for the Bucs. But Tampa is missing several key pieces, forcing Baker Mayfield to cook without his kitchen. I'm taking value on the Buccaneers, 5.5 against the spread, betting on Buffalo to underperform the spread again. Given the defensive struggles and both teams needing a rebound, I'm locking in at 47.5. I am saying this money line is a no play, but I will be taking the Bills for the data tracking. I think this one's going to be a close, tough game. Moving on, Texans versus Titans. My data gives this a 9.8 differential, making it a suboptimal moneyline pick for the Texans, barely out of the confident tier. The Texans are 6.5-point favorites with a 75% chance to win this game straight up. The over-under is a very low 37.5 points. The Titans, 1-8, are historically bad, scoring an NFL worst 14.4 points per game. Thoughts and prayers go out to the Titans, I think, right? Also worth noting, Texans, CJ Stroud might still be in concussion protocol. I think that news will probably be out today if it isn't out already. So we might be seeing Davis Mills again. Mills did engineer a huge comeback last week, but the loss of Stroud is a downgrade, which makes covering 6.5 points a little tough, especially on the road if he's not playing. The Texans' defense is stellar, ranked first in points and yards allowed, and they already shut out the Titans once this season. So I'm taking the Texans at 6.5 to cover, even with the quarterback uncertainty for Houston and the potential for a low-scoring game in this division. I'm taking the under 37.5 points. I'm taking Texans on the money line. Seahawks versus Rams. This is a danger money line pick with a razor-thin 0.8 differential favoring the Rams in my data just barely. The Rams are 3-point favorites in the market with a 62% chance to win this game straight up. The over-under is 48.5. This NFC West battle is important featuring two 7-2 games on 4-game winning streaks. Both defenses are outstanding. Both offenses are potent. Matt Stafford is playing at an MVP level, but the Seahawks are a perfect 4-0 on the road this year, and their defense ranks strongly in almost all my metrics. The key is Davante Adams, dealing with an oblique injury for the Rams, which is a concern. The Seahawks have the defensive edge in this rivalry. I'm going with the visiting team to cover the spread at Seahawks +3. Given both offenses are top 5 in scoring and Stafford and Darnold are slinging it, I'm expecting a high-scoring track meet, so I'm taking the over 48.5. I recommend this money line as a no play, but I am taking the Rams for my data on that money line pick. 49ers versus Cardinals. This is a suboptimal moneyline pick for the 49ers with an 8.7 differential. They are 3-point favorites with a 61% chance to win by the market's info. The over-under, 47.5 points. The 49ers are coming off a brutal loss where the Rams dropped 42 points on the defense and held McCaffrey to just 30 yards. But the 49ers haven't lost back-to-back games all season, and they are facing a 3-6 Cardinals team that just lost 44-22 at home. However, the 49ers defense isn't concerned with injuries. Given the 49ers need to reestablish the run and their undefeated bounce-back history, I am taking the 49ers at -3 to cover this game. With both defenses struggling recently and a high projected score from the qualitative data, which is kind of sketchy, I am going to be taking the over 47.5 points, but again, my over-unders are trash. I am taking the 49ers on the money line. Chiefs versus Broncos. This is an unbelievable danger money line pick with 0.4 differential favoring the Broncos in my data. That's almost nothing. The Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites with the 67% chance to win according to the market. The over-under is 44.5 points. The 8-2 Broncos are 5-0 at home and have won 5 straight. However, Coach Reed is 22-4 coming off a bye, and Mahomes is an absurd 13-1 in his career against Denver. While Denver's defense is excellent, allowing only a little more than 17 points a game, their offense is kind of sputtering a bit, barely beating the Raiders last week. Betting against that 13-1 record is kind of weird to me, but that 3.5-point spread with the hook is a red flag. And when the market and I don't agree on a favorite, I take the underdog on the spread. Sometimes, most times, usually. I'll take the safe bet on the Broncos at 3.5 to cover at home. Given the two top 5 defenses and a questionable Broncos offense, I'm going to be taking the under 44.5. I say the money line is a no play, but I'm taking the Broncos only for my data tracking. Ravens versus Browns. This is a decent Eddie confident money line pick for the Ravens with a steep 15.5 differential. The market has the Ravens as 7.5-point favorites with an 81% chance to win straight up. The over-under, 39.5. While I got burned by the Ravens when they visited the Browns last year late in the season, you just have to trust the data on this one. The Browns are a wreck. 2-7, lost to the Jets. They're rolling out Dylan Gabriel at quarterback against a Ravens defense that has only allowed 14.5 points per game over the last 4 games. Even though the Ravens defense isn't statistically great this season, the fact is the Browns offense is ranked 31st in total yards. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry will play keep away from Myles Garrett and secure the win. The spread is a bit high, but the team mismatch is just, it's huge. So I'm taking the Ravens 7.5 to cover this one. I'm taking the under 39.5 points based on the Browns' offensive struggles and the low projected score. I'm taking the Ravens on the money line regardless of value. A win is a win. This is the Decent Eddie game of the week. Lions versus Eagles. This is a danger moneyline pick with just a 2.7 differential favoring the Eagles in my data. The Eagles are 2.5-point favorites up from 1.5 with a 59% chance to win this game by the market's info. The over-under is 46.5 points. This is an NFC game preview probably, featuring a Lions team that just put up 44 points and 546 total yards, led by Goff and Gibbs. The Eagles' defense is highly regarded, but has to deal with that Lions' top-shelf running game. Philadelphia is coming off a low-scoring, tough win, which should motivate them for this game. The Lions against the spread record on the road against NFC opponents is compelling, as is the line being below a field goal. I'm riding the trend. I'm taking the Lions at 2.5 points to cover the spread and possibly win straight up. Given the Lions' high-powered offense and the Eagles' knack for getting to the red zone, I am going with the over 46.5 points. I say the money line is a no play to my friends and neighbors, but I am taking the Eagles for my data tracking, all right? Cowboys versus Raiders on Monday night. This is a suboptimal money line pick for the Cowboys with a 9.1 differential. The market has Dallas as 3.5-point favorites with a 65% chance to win this game straight up. The over-under is 50.5 points, kind of high. I'd expect that to change as we get closer to Monday, though. The Raiders' offense is atrocious, ranking in the bottom 5% in everything in my metrics. So you got that. That should let the emotional, motivated Cowboys get the win. Possibly, probably. I don't know why they wouldn't. But here's the problem. The Cowboys' defense is also pretty terrible. Even with the new trade pieces and all this other, that 50.5 over-under number is pretty high. I think the Cowboys probably win, but I'm taking the Raiders at 3.5 to cover this game. Call me crazy. You're free to do it. And it has nothing to do with me being a Raiders fan. It's just what I'm seeing with the data. Given the Cowboys' poor road record and their defensive performance, yeah. On the total, the Raiders' offense is just so bad. I have to recommend the under 50.5 points. I'm taking the Cowboys on the money line with some caution. I think it's going to be a close one. And that's it, guys. A lot of danger. Oof, scary week. But should be fun. Should be a lot of really good games. Anyway, parlays. Jalen Waddle. Give him 50 yards. Caleb Williams getting 175 yards. Bijan Robinson getting 50 yards. Your win probability on that is 53%. Or if you put Herbert getting 200-plus yards, DK Metcalf catching for 30 yards, you get Puka with 60 yards. That has a win probability of about 53% as well. Mix and match those. Do with them what you want. But the probability will probably land about the same, around 53%, okay? I will always endorse a three-leg parlay with odds between -400 and -450. If you do that, your odds to win are going to stay at or above 51%, which is what we want. But regardless of what you choose, I never recommend more than a three-leg parlay due to the risks of combined probabilities. And remember, do not spend more than 10% of your bankroll in total across all your wagers in a day. Never chase losses. And if you need help, check out my channel's description. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Hey, if you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, tap the bell, get my picks early enough to do your own research. And do your own research. Follow me on Decent Eddie Picks on Instagram, Facebook, X, Decent Eddie Picks. You can see me on TikTok. I'll sometimes put last-minute thoughts there, in-game thoughts there when they happen, if I have thoughts. But this is Decent Eddie signing off. Have an awesome day.